everyone. We are back again. Welcome to US LLM Tips with IJ. And I have with me here Rosario Aveduto, and we'll be talking about something even more special, if we want to say it's special. I don't think anything is as important as his job hunting and job finding process. Please, I hope you've checked out that episode because I feel like it's really has important information for you. But in this segment, we'll be talking about Rosario's specialization and his school, but more importantly, his school, because I get a lot of questions, Rosario, from folks who want to know, like, what school really supports me, because you're going to be spending thousands of dollars, right? You don't want to go to a school and you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, have I just wasted my money? And sometimes I felt that way, right? So it's good for you to have insight. So if we could have folks in some of these schools that can tell you their honest opinion, I feel like that would be helpful as well. So Rosario, thank you again for being here. And we're just going to get right on it. I'm sure everybody knows you at this point, so you don't need any introduction. So just tell us a bit about what's the name of your school, where it's located, and then your process of picking or selecting your school for your specialization. Also tell us your specialization for those who haven't watched the previous episode.
Okay. My law school here in the United States is the University of Washington William H. Gates Law School. The school is in Seattle, Washington. I think overall it's a very good school. It was not the first time that I heard about the school when I applied to it. I've already studied there as an exchange student. The most important factor in making up my decision to only go to UW was the fact that they had the IP LLM program, which is the LLM program that I attended. And this IP, which stands for intellectual property, is a very specialized aspect of the law, and it's one aspect that is rising really. It's been rising for many years, and it's currently booming, we could say, because everything many things around us, pretty much everything around us is somehow connected to intellectual property, and so there is a good demand for attorneys that have a specialization in this. And it's probably one of those areas where a specialized attorney can really make a difference as opposed to a general practice attorney. So that's one thing that pushed me towards the University of Washington, because I knew they had this program and I knew it was a very good one. And I mean, generally, the University of Washington is a very good university. It has very good rankings. Chris.
That's really good to know. I feel like something else people will want to know is, did the University of Washington does it provide support to, I feel like the question will be in the past tense because you're no longer in the school, right? But did it provide support to international students seeking internships or job opportunities of, did it provide any support to those students? What kinds of support, or if it didn't, what was your experience with support from the school?
To some extent, so I think we can divide the answer into two buckets. So one is general support, and the other one is support specifically directed at finding a job. So in terms of general support, I have really nothing to object, because you have orientation and you have advisors and people who are who you can reach out to all the time, and most of the times they would be happy to take care of your needs. And sometimes it's as simple as talking to someone when you're in doubt, or if you're one of those people that every now and then wants to be reassured of what they're doing and kind of getting feedback from someone else. They have very good amenities, so they have a very good library. and you have tons of space where you can, focus and do your stuff and study, or even do work or whatever. Moving on to the serious stuff. So at this point, it gets a little harder for international students. Basically, you should imagine, at least at University of Washington, you should imagine the school as somehow divided into JD programs and the LLM programs. So the JD programs are mostly, I would say, almost entirely made up of either international students who have lived in the United States for doing their undergraduate. So basically, they already have 4 years of U.S. life and experience, and U.S. citizens or U.S. residents who live here and are law students. And on the other side, you have LLM programs, which are almost entirely made of international students with no prior U.S. experience. JD students, they have specific programs that are intended for them, and most of the times these include OCIs, which stands for on-campus interviews. So in these programs, basically you have law firms coming to campus and take interviews with JD students, and so they have a chance of finding a summer internship or a postgraduate job. At University of Washington, I don't know about other law schools, but at least University of Washington, there is no such thing for LLM students. It makes it very, very much harder for an LLM student as opposed to a JD student to kind of tap into that network of law firms and attorneys. On the other hand, there are several options that you can, that the school offers, which, I mean, they do not directly help you to get a job. It's going to be mostly your effort, but they give you a chance to build a network because they offer a lot of, they organize and they set up a lots of meetings and parties and events and CLEs, and you really have a chance of meeting a ton of people, and I'm not even exaggerating, a ton of people. And basically at that point, it's up to you to get out of your comfort zone and start talking to people. As I said in the other segment, people like to build connections here, and they understand the value that connections have, not just in law, or for job hunting. You can use connections for pretty much anything you want, and that makes them invaluable. So try to get as many connections as you can, and make sure that you start to create connections very early. So as soon as you arrive, at the law school, whether it's University of Washington or any other law school, as soon as you arrive, start building connections, start meeting people and get to know people, and throughout the program, keep in touch with them and talk to them, and hopefully it will pay off.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's a good way to highlight some of the things you've said, which is the school might not, it's the resources for international students are not as much as they are for the JD students, but there are events for international students where you're given that opportunity to do the work. The school won't do the work for you. You have to do the work for yourself, especially at those events, right? And so I feel like that this rule applies to all the schools, right? No, I don't think to a large extent, but I've heard of some schools that do provide more support, and I feel like it's getting better now. Because if you remember, for me, when I came, which was the same time with you, but sometimes I would go for stuff and people would ask me, what does an LLM mean? Like, I felt like that blew my mind. That blew my mind.
That's right. LLM programs, they're becoming, I guess they're becoming more popular now. That's probably good.
It's good. It's better for people.
So I'm hoping that this translates into
The
more
opportunity.
attention and more resources from
And more
universities.
resources. The next question I would ask is, I feel like you've kind of answered this, but what challenges do you think LLM students face at your school? I feel like you've kind of highlighted some of them to a large extent, right? So we might just gloss over that question unless you have something extra to add.
I think I'll add a few more
Okay.
nuggets of information. I would say you have several challenges for the simple reason that most of the times you will be someone who leaves their home country and goes to the other side of the world to study and find a job. So that's a challenge even on itself. Now the second challenge is probably psychological. So it's about well, actually they're all psychological, but this one more than the others. So basically, don't live comparing yourself to others. In the United States, the culture is very different from Italy, for example, and I'm sure it's the same for Nigeria. It's very different, and you will find people that are younger than you and they are more accomplished than you, and maybe smarter, and they have worked more than you have, and they have more experience. So it's very easy, for someone who just arrives there to start making comparison, and maybe you start feeling bad about yourself because maybe you're a little older and you haven't done as much as they have. My advice is to do your best, not to make those comparisons. And if you do make those comparisons, like I have, try to keep going, nevertheless.
I feel like something I would add to as a challenge for an LLM student, and I don't know if this is still the case, but when you come to this country, and maybe I don't know if it was peculiar to our school, to UW too, but there was a lot of, at the time, like it feels better now, but there was a lot of negativity back then about being an LLM student, right? At least in my opinion, it just felt like the moment like you go for stuff and people mention that you're an LLM student, you just feel like, oh my god, the world is ending.
I don't know how to call it. I feel like we were treated with a little bit of condescendence, like that we are class B students, stuff like that, because we are outsiders to this system. And I mean, I can understand their reluctance to some extent. As I said earlier, think for yourself and don't let other people's behavior influence the way you make decisions. I wanted to be an attorney in the United States. I'm an attorney in the United States, and I came to the United States with no clue on how to do it, but I just knew that I wanted to do it. So over time and along the road, I picked up these pieces and I managed to put them together.
Because people will tell you a lot of stuff, so it's up to you to whether or not you want to be loyal to people's limitations and people telling you can't do, or you choose what you can do. You get to decide what you can or cannot do, and nobody. Remember, there was a meeting we went for. I can't remember what event we went for, but someone actually told us that as an LLM student, you can never get into a law firm, or you could never get into.
I remember that very, very, very often. I remember that, and what I was thinking at that time was, hello, you can tell me what I cannot do.
Excuse you. Talk a bit about UW. Would you recommend UW to an LLM student? Why?
Yeah. The challenges that you face as LLM students, the university, they could do more. That's for sure. They could do more, but it's really there is not too much they can do, especially at the beginning. So it's really, I mean, they can do more, but at the same time, it's your responsibility to do your part here. So my advice is to use as many resources as you can based on what the university has to offer, but know that 90% of the effort has to come from you. And so you have to be responsible for your own career, and regardless of whether your university has a lot of resources or less resources, you need to take it upon yourself to do the work. I think one thing we didn't touch upon is the technical background that I have, because so based on the things that I learned at UW, I really feel like those things that I learned during the LLM are now helping me very practically in my day job. And there are many concepts and many things that I had time to learn slowly at the university. I feel like the courses that I took really helped me.
Good.
I said, not just theoretical knowledge that's good, everybody likes it, but it's rarely useful. But practical knowledge, specifically for trademarks, that really helped me. And that's good. And not many universities offer courses that are practical, practice oriented. Most of them they stop at the theory, and that's okay. That's all you need. But in truth, that's not. If you cannot approach something from a practical standpoint, right in law school, that prepares you. You are a little bit ahead of the schedule. Yeah, and that usually helps.
Thank you so much, Rosario, for being here. I really, really appreciate you, and I'm sure people have learned a thing or two about UW, your specialization, ID, and how relevant it is to you. So thank you for being here, guys. Please don't forget to check the previous segment where he talks about looking for a job and employment and what